ADJ just dropped the bomb. What's up, people? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. So did you see that thing? That is the new ADJ link. They just dropped it. Well, it's not out, but they just said it's coming out. They made a big announcement on their Instagram. I was super excited about it, and I decided to make a little video and kind of give you guys my take on it and let you know what I know. So this is what happened. They made the announcement on the Instagram. I was really excited. I posted about it on my story. I reached out to them, slid in their DMs, sent them an email. Nobody got back to me. Nothing yet. One of these days, so I had to do my own research. And as I was researching around the interwebs and whatnot, I realized that there's really no information about this thing except for their official announcement on their Instagram, and they do have it on their ADJ.com. I think it's ADJ.com. Whatever their website is, they have it on the website, and it does a brief overlook, a couple pictures of it, and they do have their user manuals on there. So I was able to kind of dive into that and get some specific details. So this is all from me just doing research. I have no contact with them yet or anything, or probably ever. I don't know. So this is what I know. So the ADJ Link is a rack mountable lighting controller. And I do have to admit that when I first seen it, it kind of looks like it's from 1995. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's got the IBM buttons, on the side, like the keyboard buttons, like the old computers. It's got a light, a USB light that plugs in and kind of so that nothing's backlit, I guess. I mean, there are some lights on it. I think I can see some lights on it, but nothing's really backlit. So you have that little light that sticks out. I don't know. The design itself looks super dated. I will say that off the bat. Sorry, ADJ, but Jesus, I mean, you gotta even admit, that thing looks old. Like, that shit looks Betty White old. But besides the looks, I would not judge a book by its cover in this case because there's some serious technology in this thing that I'm pretty excited about. Number one is it has its own built-in Wi-Fi that can do 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz, which is kind of game-changing. I mean, I don't know about you, I still run all my lights on 2.4, and you can get interference. I mean, Bluetooth's on 2.4, some RF frequencies, like the digital mics are all on 2.4. There's a lot of things that can mess up your lights with a 2.4 spectrum, 100%, especially with venues adding different things and their Wi-Fi networks and all that. So having the ability to be on the 5 gigahertz spectrum is huge, like huge. Huge. And for all of you wireless light people, I honestly think 5 gigahertz spectrum is the future for all of us. Next 5 years, we're all gonna have to switch to that. So they're kind of ahead of the curve on this, and I applaud them for that. So that's very, very exciting. And it also has 4 different universes built in, which, 512 per universe is, would make it total 2,048 channels. Holy shit. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with how lighting works real quick, just so you know, it doesn't mean you can use 2048 lights. Like, everything a light does is a channel. So if you have a light that is like RGBWA, that's 5 channels right there for each color. Then if it strobes, that's another channel. You know what I mean? So every light takes up between, 5 and 15, 20, 25 channels depending on what the light does. So it's not like you can have 2,000 lights, all those channels really are necessary, but most people can run, a small to medium light show on a 512 universe. So having 4 built in really gives you some unlimited possibilities, and it really makes this controller future-proof in case there's some crazy ass lights that come out in the future that take up all these channels. I mean, having 2048, you're probably solid for a while. But now let's talk about how this bad boy works. So it works with iPads only. That's a little limited, so if you have a different kind of tablet or if you want to use, your laptop, to my knowledge, from what I can dig up online, it only works with an iPad. Might change in the future, but whatever. So it works with iPad, and there's a little iPad slot for it on top, so it sticks in there, kind of like some of those controllers or whatever. Super, super cool. There's an app, obviously, that's how you use it, and you could do it wired, so you can plug your iPad into the controller, or you could do it wirelessly. And I think wirelessly kind of opens up a lot of possibilities. If it works really well like they say it does, you can go up to 75 feet away from the controller, so you can program your spots, for example. Programming spots is kind of a pain in the ass. You want to make sure it's center of the dance floor, so you can be out there with the app programming it and making sure it's perfect. You don't need 2 people to do that anymore, so that makes it clutch. I mean, there's a ton really good ways you can use it now that it's wireless. The app itself seems to be very powerful. I was going through the user manual of it, and it seems like it could do everything. I don't know how intuitive it is, honestly. I mean, the manual's big and long and seems complicated, but you know how when you read instructions, it looks that way, but then when you actually do it, it's different. So I don't know. Haven't tried it yet, but seems Little complicated, we shall see. There's no videos out on it, nothing. There's nothing for me to kind of go by. I'm just going by literally the user manual, but I'm assuming it's somewhat more intuitive than, you know, programs in the past. But one thing I will say is like the possibilities with the app are endless. You can do anything. Like I didn't see one thing that they missed as far as programming lights. Like everything's in there. So it's a super powerful app for sure. Now, as I was digging through this shit, one thing I was a little concerned about using like an iPad is like, how do I back this up? You know, how do I transfer shows from one iPad to another? Or, you know, like what are the backup situations? You know, what if shit goes wrong with this? Like, how do I back it up? I'm not like that, you know, comfortable using an iPad for things as I would be with a computer. But after some digging, I gotta give some props to ADJ because they did cover all the bases. First of all the programming, everything you do is saved to files, like in the iPad, right? You know, like the Files app or whatever. Those files can be backed up to all your clouds, everything, right? I back up all my files to my cloud system. So if you have that system kind of already in place, it'll be super easy for you. And then you can access these files from everywhere. So you're totally backed up. And then, you know, you can load a show, you know, any type of light show or all your settings or whatever on your iPad or on another iPad very, very easily. But the coolest feature that they have that I'm pretty excited about, that this is a backup I currently don't have with my lighting setup, is standalone mode. Now let's say your iPad self-destructs. It overheats because you're outside, or it just blows up and glass goes everywhere, and shrapnel in your face and the lights go out and the world is ending, right? Well, standalone mode within this controller stores up to 8 different scenes on the actual controller. Like the controller has memory. So if all else fails, you can have 8 backup scenes that you can click on right on the controller and keep your lights going while you figure out what's going on with your iPad, which is, oh, such a lifesaver. Such a lifesaver. So I'm really, really excited about that. I think it's a very good idea. And 8 scenes is a lot. So you can have like a couple different dinner scenes with neutral colors. You can have a couple different dancing scenes. Like you can have everything set. So like if there's a hiccup, if something goes wrong, your crowd will never know. Ever. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but that's just something that's not available at Show Express. Like if Show Express messes up, like if my computer messes up, like my lights will stay doing what they're doing, you know what I mean? So whatever my lights are doing at that moment, they'll just keep doing that. But the second I restart the program and go back into it, you know, and try and fix it and, you know, go back to regular, my lights will turn off and then I have to turn everything back on. So there's that switch, which everyone will know about, you know what I mean? It's never happened to me at an event, thank God, but it's just that one thing that I don't really have a backup of. Not a flawless backup anyway. I mean, I would, I guess, put one of my uplights in master slave mode, have them all go to one color real quick, you know, but there's still gonna be a hiccup. There's still gonna be a point in time where there's no lights even for a split second, which would be noticeable, you know? Now, as far as the controller itself, you'll notice there's a button for everything. It's made to control lights, so it's pretty cool. There's a little IBM button that can do pretty much anything you want it to do. There's a blackout button on the master channel too, so you can black things out. Super clutch, you need this. There's little rotary dials on the right. I think there's 4 of them where you could program to do whatever. So if you want to, I don't know, you know, make things zoom in and out, that sort of thing, you can program it for that. There's a couple different channel faders, so you can set one for like your lights or one for this channel or one for this spot, you know, and adjust it that way. There's different buttons on top. I think there's like 30 something buttons on top that you can, you know, program different colors to for your uplights or different, you know, patterns or whatever, you know, so it's super customizable. Like the controller itself, although, you know, I don't like the buttons and I think it looks old, it has a button for everything. I think it's going to be super intuitive to use. I'm just worried about programming. I mean, that's honestly my only worry. I don't know how easy this thing's going to be to program. I mean, if it takes hours and hours and hours to learn how to use it and learn how to program it and get it down right and all these little tweaks, kind of like Show Express does, then I'm going to be honest, I'm not interested. Okay, I want a simpler solution personally. But if it's intuitive, if it works great, then they might be onto something here. As far as how much this thing is, there's no information. I have no idea. I know it's out in February 2021, like sometime in February, but I have no idea how much this is gonna cost yet. There's nothing online. As I know, I'll let you guys know. But if I had to guess, right? Let me see if my Nostradamus skills are right. If I had to guess, I would say this is $299.95. That's what I think it's gonna be. That's my guess. We'll see. I'm super surprised there's no videos on this yet. Like nobody has covered it whatsoever, not even ADJ, other than their little announcement and their little cool little shots that they did of it, but that's it. Like there's no real, you know, someone explaining what's cool about it at all. But in the meantime, I'm gonna continue to do my own research and release this information to you guys as I find out new stuff, which by the way, if you guys know anything I don't know, leave it in the comments below. Let the people know. We're kind of figuring this all out together. It should be out in a few weeks apparently, so we'll know more as time goes on. fun. And as always, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate all of you. See you next one.